Hey y'all.
Hello, this is me again.
And I'm me, the problem. I'm the problem.
You are.
So, I'm about to be more of a problem because today I want to talk with you about something that's probably going to piss off everybody that follows us. Maybe not everybody. We have a lot of guy followers too. So, I don't think they'll be as pissed off. Well, I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know. I think males tend to get more pissed off sometimes um, over this issue, to be honest with you. But hey, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
um, I want to talk in general, all around, about what is going on in the US with abortions.
Yep, and abortion rights. And before we get into it, if you do like our content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. But
Or share
um,
it with your friend that you know does like this kind of stuff,
yeah,
please.
we truly appreciate it. We love you. Um, but yeah, no, there's been some stories I've heard around recently. There
So
was
go ahead.
one about the woman that is arrested was arrested and is in jail right now because she had it wasn't even an abortion, it was a miscarriage. And she I guess she in that moment she didn't know what to do. She wrapped the baby up and threw it in the dumpster, and somebody called the car, like not the 911, I guess the ambulance, because she was bleeding out, like she was bleeding, right? So the ambulance came, picked her up, and then she was arrested at the hospital, and what she did was have a miscarriage. But how is that right, Amanda? How is that
Let
right?
me speak this. As somebody, hmm, well, this is going to share some personal information, but it is what it is. As somebody that gave birth to a child that was stillborn, I know how crushing that kind of situation can be. Going to a hospital or going through, even, you know what, I wouldn't even say a whole pregnancy, going through even a couple of months of a pregnancy. As a female, I know it's different for men, but as a female you grow really attached to that child already. In my case, I went through pretty much full term. I was, you know, like 1, 2, 3, I was like 4 days off from my due date. It wasn't even that long to my due date. um Going to a hospital pregnant and not leaving with a baby was one of the hardest experiences of my life. And I will also tell you that that experience literally made me as a person, because a lot of people around me will tell you like, "Oh, Amanda doesn't take anything seriously, like pain wise. Like if someone dies, they die." And that's not me being mean. It still hurts, but nothing hurts like losing a kid. Nothing. There's not. I could date every person in the world, and I could think I'm in love with all of them, and all of them could leave me, and I'd be okay, because nothing would ever compare to the pain that I felt during that time. And so nothing else matters. Like if I got through that, I can literally get through anything. So with that being said, when I tell you it is the strongest pain you will ever feel individually, it is. So if I would have gone through that and they would have arrested me, one, I hope for her sake she was put on suicide watch. Because as much as I don't want to admit this, at that point in my mind frame, I would have taken my own life. But number
Mhm.
two, so you mean to tell me we're just gonna throw people in jail now because their bodies fail? You
Yeah,
know,
well,
they can do that for that, then who's to say they won't do it for other things? I mean, I have a rare blood disorder. Can that send me to prison?
no, see, the thing is, I feel like they want to control each, like, even miscarriages. They want to have, like, have women be investigated when there's even a miscarriage happening. Ever since Roe versus Wade was overturned, and in this case in particular, she was 19 weeks pregnant. They did an autopsy on the fetus. It did never took a breath. There was nothing in her system where she would have endured, like, like, made herself have
Induced a
a
induced
miscarriage.
an
Induced,
abortion.
that's I was gonna say endured, but I was like, that's not the word. Induced her to have a miscarriage. And yes, she did dispose of the body in the garbage can, like in the garbage container of the apartment complex, and that's what they're charging her with. They're not charging her with a miscarriage because they
But what do
fucking
you
can't.
do? Is there like a number you call to come pick up your miscarriage remains?
Exactly. Like, she's 24 years old. This just happened. You know how emotional it is to go through that. I know, even having live babies, it's emotional for a woman to go through that. And who's to say that she had fucking insurance? Because she didn't call
Oh,
an ambulance herself.
right. And
You
who's to say she wasn't scared? Listen, at this point, I'd be scared if I had a miscarriage too. The whole
exactly.
world is scared and they don't know who they can trust or who they can talk to in these kinds of situations. Who do you tell?
Who do you tell? And this was in Georgia, by the way. So it's in the state. It's in your state.
Oh,
This happened in Georgia. But the laws are getting so strict again around abortion and miscarriages. Like, even in Texas, there's been, and they don't, this is not something that's like uber publicized, but there's been a significant increase in pregnant, like, women mortality when it comes to pregnancy. Because imagine, in your situation, you go to the hospital, right? And the baby's no longer alive, but the doctor is afraid to do an abortion or have you induce birth because they're afraid that they're going to keep their license is going to be revoked and they're going to be facing jail time because the laws around abortion are so unclear. And that's what's basically happening to a lot of women. They go into the hospital with issues and they end up dying of sepsis because the doctors wait too long to induce, to do an abortion because they are afraid. And what happens is the woman ends up fucking dying. And I don't, to all those people that say, oh, abortion shouldn't be allowed, blah, 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 at late stages. Uh, no woman carries a baby for 8, 7, 9 months, 6 months, and all of the sudden decides that they don't want to have it no more. Like, by that point, they have names picked out, they have a crib, they have a room.
yeah,
This
late
is
stage abortions happen for reasons.
exactly, they happen for reasons, and the decision should be made between the woman, the father if he's around, and those doctors. And the government does not fucking belong in that fucking hospital
And
room.
no offense to what you just said because I understand why you said it, but I disagree with even the man being involved. And that's just for a personal reason. Like I personally have never until my current relationship, I've never been in a healthy relationship. So, um I don't think I would have wanted any of them to have a say because all of them would have told me to keep it,
Yeah, no, and
even if something was wrong.
I agree. I no, I agree. Let me explain why I said the man, because and by man I could mean like mother, like whoever's in the family of that woman that's just so they
Whoever her
have
support system is.
her support system is, yeah, in that room. Like, they belong in that room because that's her support system, but the decision should ultimately be made by the woman with whatever it is, taking into consideration whatever the doctor is saying. You know what I mean? Like, the government doesn't fucking belong there. It just fucking doesn't.
And listen, if the government belongs there, then I want access to government spending files. Like if they can control my body, I want to control their money.
Yeah.
And
No.
if that's the case, how come we don't get to control men's bodies? Because I vouch,
Speaking of which,
I vote we should make all men get like a vasectomy as they come out of high school and they can have it reversed when they can afford children.
listen, this is funny. So, you know how they say, you know, I guess the baby's life begins at conception or something like that. Like, you know, uh, um, somebody, I forgot the state, but somebody tried to pass a bill and it was satirical in a sense, but that uh, conception, no, that conception begins at ejaculation.
Well,
That was
then
the
what
name
about
of the
all
bill.
the men that masturbate because they just over there having abortion after abortion after abortion
Exactly.
and they
Exactly.
should all be arrested.
That's what the bill was,
Just
you know,
throwing all them kids away.
that's what the bill was meant to point out.
And
Like,
every
okay,
14 and 15-year-old boy in the world should be going to jail for having babies in socks.
exactly. And that's what the bill was trying to point out. Like in it depending on which state you are, you as a woman have more or less rights. That doesn't happen for men. Men have the same rights over their body autonomy, whether they're in Georgia, whether they're in Washington State, whether they're in California. Doesn't matter where they fucking go. But you, as a woman, you can go to Texas and have some rights. You can go to New York and have different rights, more or less rights. You know what I mean? And that doesn't happen to men. So basically, this bill was meant to point out how the double standard. You know what I mean? Sure, if you want to say that can there's something that happens before a woman gets pregnant and that's the man ejaculating. So if we're going to be controlling women, then we should control men and their sperm because those are babies too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
Absolutely.
it
And
was just
you know what? I want every single one of my exes arrested right now for putting babies in socks.
yes, yes, me too. um and with the but that's like late term abortions and stuff like that. That's horrible. But I think abortions are sometimes necessary or not necessary, but it's not like they're a means of birth control. But I've had two pregnancies myself. Both of them were not, I was not in the ideal situation, right? um One of them I was on birth control. So birth control is now 100%, you guys. The first one was, you know, um, my boyfriend's pullout game was not as strong as I thought, apparently. So it happened, and I faced that question. And me being raised Catholic, I struggled, even though I knew it was probably the best decision for me financially as a person, as an adult, to not be burdened by a child. I couldn't see myself mentally, and this is something I feel like most women go through, even if they do decide to have the abortion. That that mental fight within themselves of, is this the right choice? And it's not like even if you do have the abortion, you don't feel any pain. So I struggle with that myself, but I knew for a fact that I had family around me and that I would be okay. I knew that I wasn't going to struggle financially, and I knew that I was going to be okay, even if I had the kid. So I had a support system around me that allowed me to make the decision of having the child, feeling secure, and knowing that I would be able to provide for that kid, whether it was me by myself or by extension by my mother, my father, etc. Right? There's a lot of
Right.
women that get pregnant and they are faced with, okay, I don't have any money. I don't have anything to give this kid. I can't afford to have a child right now. And they should be allowed to have an abortion. And I'm not saying a late term abortion, but I'm saying if they get pregnant, they should be allowed within a certain amount of time to have a fucking abortion without a fucking issue. Because all these pro life people, if you ask them, hey, should a child receive universal health care? Should a child receive free meals? Should we give assistance to the mothers? They say no, they need to pull themselves by the fucking bootstraps. So
Listen, I
wait.
really need these people to get it together. And I
Yeah.
say that because, y'all, we just went through a 3-year pandemic that all y'all screamed at me was a population control situation. They trying to phase out the population because there's too many people on Earth. This is a population control thing. Blah, 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 blah. You know, hey, we gotta stop making babies, and we gotta this, and we gotta that, because population control is bad, and da 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 da. And so y'all killed off half of the old people, and now y'all coming back around saying, "Oh, but we don't want y'all to have abortions." Do we want these people or not? Like, what is the occupancy limit on Earth?
Yeah.
And and why do you care? Like, if you gonna force me, and this is just my personal opinion. Now, again, I have no children, and I dare any police officer in Georgia to come arrest me for that. Okay, so we're clear. You know, I lost a kid. You know, so y'all can come arrest me if y'all want. I'm right here. I got good lawyers. Anyways, I don't understand why anybody cares. Because if I give birth to that baby and I don't want it, I'm gonna abandon it. And then your tax money is gonna pay for that child for the next 18 years to live in foster care. It's going to pay for that child to go to college, because if you, as long as you can get into college, foster care will help you pay for it. Typically, not always, but typically they will, which means your tax money is also paying for it. But then y'all turn around and say, why taxes are so high? Why I got to pay into the government so much? Well, because we got 80,000 mouths to feed, that y'all force these people to have these babies that they don't want. You know, listen, I be trying to convince my friends to drop off their 12-year-old grown kids at the fire department. So I don't know. I do. But that's just me. I don't have children. And at this point, I'm glad, because this world is fucked. The entire world is screwed.
No, it
Except me.
really is. And that's the whole thing. Like, these children are not just like, you care for, you want these fetuses to turn
Then
into
adopt them.
baby, yeah, but you want these women to have these babies, but you don't give a fuck about those babies once they're fucking out of the womb. You just
Right.
don't want the woman to have the choice to fucking say, I can't do this right now. I have a career, and this is a baby is not okay. Y'all can say a baby is a blessing all you fucking want. I have two of them and I love them to fucking death. But they will put a stop to to certain types of things that you can and cannot do with your fucking life.
Listen, I'm lucky that my disorder has caused me to stop ovulation. Like, that's been a, I don't want to say a blessing for me, but it has been a blessing, because I'm going to tell you now. If I popped up pregnant tomorrow, I will pop up at an abortion clinic on Monday. Because having a child, like, number one, if I have a surgery, I won't heal from that surgery. So I can't have a C section. If I push a child out of my vagina will not heal. So, me having a kid
Would kill you.
would kill me, and nobody would give a shit. I mean, my family would, but out there in the world, nobody would give a shit that this child has to be taken care of, and my family would lose me. So, my child would be motherless. My partner would be a single parent, and I would be able to provide nothing nurturing or helpful to raise this child because I have a disorder that will not allow me to heal.
Yep. And I mean, we don't have the numbers right now, but y'all are free to Google it. This is happening. Like women are fucking
Everywhere.
dying because of policies around
Not
abortion
everywhere in the US. I mean,
in
when
the
I say
US.
everywhere, I mean through multiple different states, y'all.
And what are we gonna do? Go back to the fucking times where like women had to go get abortions in like back rooms?
And
You
that's
know,
the thing. Like making it illegal is not going to stop abortion. It's just going to stop safe
safe.
abortion
Exactly.
because you can still buy the pills for these abortions online, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the sucky part is the ones you buy online. So abortions, for those of you that don't know, and maybe I'm giving away information I shouldn't be giving away, but like abortions are two pills. You take the first pill, 24 hours later, you take the second pill. When you buy abortion stuff online, it only sends you the first pill. The second pill has to be distributed to you from a doctor. So, if you take the first pill and you don't take the second pill, the first pill will kill the fetus. The second pill is what pushes the fetus out of your body. So, if you take the first pill and you don't take the second one, the baby will die inside you. It'll eat away at the amniotic, I can't say that word, amniotic, whatever, sac, because it's dead. That'll go into your bloodstream and it'll kill you. The infection will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same problem they used to have with the clothes hangers. They
Yeah,
could
and
kill
that's
the baby, but they couldn't make your body always push it out.
there's actually a doctor in New York that Texas wants to extradite to Texas because they're charging her with a crime because she, like, if you're in Texas, you can contact like a gynecologist, a doctor in other states where abortion is legal, like New York, and by telehealth, and have them mail you the abortion pills. And this
Hmm.
is like through a doctor.
Right.
And so it's legal in New York, not legal in Texas. And so Texas is telling New York, hey, you need to bring the doctor to us so we can charge her
You
with
need to
a
control your doctor.
yeah, we no, you they want to charge her with a crime. I forgot what the actual clause is, like the crime, but they want to try her in Texas, and New York is saying, "Nah, no,
Yeah,
you,
good. Because you know what? I'm gonna get a shirt and I stand with New York.
yeah." I mean, I just there's just so much
This
shit.
is taking me back to that, when Roe versus Wade was first getting overturned, we were all as women kind of coming together, saying not only did we have the whole Me Too movement going on at that time, but at the same time we also had like I got your negative.
Mhm.
And to this day, for me, that sticks, y'all. I'm not on TikTok anymore. I know what is working on getting us back into TikTok because I had a heartbreak with TikTok. I got a lot of followers. I did really well for a really long time. And then they turned it off. And all my videos disappeared for like 24 hours and it broke my heart. And from that moment forward, I didn't get back on because you're only going to break my heart one time. You don't get a second chance with me. And that includes social media. But anyways, I posted a video there when all that was going on, and all the video more or less said is like, man, I got your negative because this is stupid. So if any of y'all need a negative pregnancy test, call me. I can't get pregnant, so I'm always gonna be negative, y'all. Just call me, I'll send you one. It's no big deal. Um, and as far as abortions go, clearly you can't, come to Georgia and have a miscarriage. So I highly doubt you could have an abortion here. But I mean, I hear there's a good doctor in New York that I could hook you up with.
Yeah, no,
Um,
and the I think both of our opinions is that women should be in control of their bodies and make decisions for themselves. And other people have no business
And if I
telling
can't
us
make
what to
my own
do.
decisions, then I don't want to have to pay my own bills. That's how I feel about it. Like, okay, I work really hard. I have a corporate job. I work 60 hours a week and I shouldn't. I mean, I only have to work 40. My job doesn't make me work extra. I just have a problem, y'all. But I pay all my own bills. I pay them on time. I don't have any government assistance. I'd love some if someone knows how to get around that system. Um, but I have no government assistance. I have no access to government assistance. I couldn't get help if my life depended on it tomorrow. And I have a rare disorder that costs me a lot of money in medical care every year. A lot of money. I'm in the hospital. It feels like in the between the doctors and the hospital, I feel like I'm there more than I'm at my own house. However, yeah, they can tell me that I can't have a miscarriage or I can't have an abortion. That makes no sense to me. So as a woman, if y'all now get to control those aspects of my life, then y'all need to control these bills I got to pay and pay them.
Yeah.
Y'all need to control the job that I have so I don't have to work it. If I have to be a tool for men to utilize and use, then just like the tools that they buy at the store, they have to pay for that. They have to pay for the upkeep, they have to pay for where they're going to store it. If I am going to be treated like a tool, then the item should be provided to me to live like a tool.
Yeah. And if you're so pro life and you really, really, really want to control what women can and cannot do, even if they're not ready to make that fucking decision, even if they're not ready, then you should also be pro government assistance, like you were saying, to care for that fucking kid once it's in this fucking world. Not just fucking wash your fucking hands. I don't see none of y'all motherfuckers adopting fucking
And that's
children.
what I was about to say. Every single one of y'all that say you should not abort that baby, I hope you could show me adoption paperwork
Mm-hmm. Go
because I want to
ahead.
see how many kids you've adopted. How many
Yeah.
kids have you saved? Because you worried about that fetus over there. Meanwhile, Annie down the street ain't had no shoes on her feet in 6 days. She's dirty and she hasn't had food in her stomach, and you're just watching her play.
Yeah, it's like they go from, "Oh, a fetus is a person, you shouldn't be able to have an abortion," to, "Oh, fuck them kids. Have
Right.
them."
Or I can't believe that there's so many people on government assistance. Oh my gosh, the ghettos are getting larger. No, you're creating those situations for people that can't do it. No
Yeah.
female is walking around going, I've worked so hard for this career. Oh man, I just got pregnant and I know that I work for a sexist asshole. It's really going to suck in 9 months when I take maternity leave so that that other person makes partner instead of me. Even though I've just busted my ass for 10 years to not get pregnant. But I can't abort this baby because
Yeah.
poor old Karen over there is going to be upset that I killed a fetus that she doesn't have to worry about.
And before y'all say anything else, no woman is out there, like, having abortions like she's popping candy. Like, this is not like, women
Now,
don't
and
use
I don't want
it.
to say that because I do actually know a couple of girls that they use abortion as a form of birth control.
Well, then that's fucking wrong. They should be.
And no, I completely agree it's wrong. So this is what I think about that. You know, y'all want to have some kind of control. Why don't we put names in the system? If you have to have an abortion, okay. But you know, like we don't want to make abortions like, oh, you get five, you get the sixth one free. You know what I mean? We're not trying to do that. However, if I'm not using it as a form of birth control, it's none of your fucking business what I'm doing with my body.
And to be honest with you, I don't think it should be, there should be a list. If listen, if there are women out there that are using, which
I think that everybody's stupid if they don't think there's a list already.
yeah, but if there's women out there, right, that are using abortion as a form of birth control, I'm pretty sure it's not the majority. But if there are, if there's some out there and they want to keep doing that shit, that's between them and their fucking god, and they'll pay for that in some karma will get them some fucking way or form if that is their way of birth control because there
The
are
only
other
reason
fucking
I
ways.
think it's an issue is because Medicaid in certain states does still pay for abortion, and I don't
Okay.
think that's right. If it's being used as a form of birth control, because birth control is free for most women on Medicaid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So
When I
I
was
don't
pregnant,
think
I was in South Carolina and I wasn't, but I wasn't on Medicaid or anything like that. Like I didn't have government insurance. And if I wanted an abortion, I was going to have to pay for it out of pocket.
right.
Um,
No, and anytime I've been in a situation like that, it's been the same. But I do know in certain states, especially a particular state, it is covered under Medicaid, and that's
mhm.
why that person uses it as a form of birth control.
Okay.
However, if it's a situation like that, then maybe they have, maybe all of you people that are so like angry about things, maybe y'all create a committee that does interventions for those people.
Yeah.
But leave
And
the rest of us the fuck alone, because if you're that worried about what's coming out of my vagina and you're that worried about what's going in my vagina, then you should be paying my bills already anyways. Like, you're in love with me. And if we're in love, we should get married.
we should. Well, not we, but you and
No, no,
whoever is
no,
so
I
worried
do.
about your
I
vagina.
do. I
I don't
do.
think
You
I'm.
already said it.
I already said that I'm worried about your vagina, or that that we should get
That
married.
we should get
I am
married.
not worried.
And I said I do. So now it's official and the whole world heard it. So if you don't do it, you're going back on a verbal contract. I read that somewhere. And I
Yeah,
can sue
somewhere.
you for loss of enjoyment of life.
Well, well, good luck with that. I'll send you the money in a check in the mail, like you
You have
do
a
to me.
husband. I'm suing
Then
you
I can't
now.
fucking marry you. Um, but no, and I'm not like nobody's saying that there doesn't need to be regulation around abortion. And if the state is paying for it, like you said, like some people have Medicaid and it's covered under Medicaid, maybe say, okay, well, Medicare will cover this one, but after so many procedures, like it's no longer covered by us. Like there could be regulation around it. There needs to be regulation around it, just like there needs to be regulation around guns, for instance. But nobody wants to take guns away from people. We just want them
Yeah, they do. The
regulated.
government does.
But regular people, I don't mean the government. I mean regular folk. Most people in America at least want to still have, the right to bear arms, right? They want to have that.
I like bear arms. They're fluffy
Yeah.
and warm. But go ahead.
And the people that a lot of the people like myself, we still want that, right? We just don't think, I think we think maybe it should be more regulation around it, right? Well, the same thing with abortion. It's not like there shouldn't be any, regulation around it. Like I don't think any woman that's 8 months pregnant would ever want to say, "Oh, fuck this kid. I don't want to have it no more," and give me an abortion. But if that's the case, I don't think that's right. Honestly, I don't think an 8 month pregnant woman, with a healthy baby, should be able to have the
Well,
abortion.
how I feel about it is, why is it anybody else's business?
And it shouldn't be. And it
And listen, I get what you're saying. And as somebody that lost a kid, it's the hardest thing for people like me. And I don't know what people call people like me. Like, wh- what do you call a mom that lost a kid? Like, when you lose a spouse, you're a widow. When you lose a kid, you're fucking broken. Okay, you're damaged. Whatever it is that people call us. Okay, but for people like me, one of the hardest things was watching people that either didn't take care of their children well,
mhm.
or people that abused their children get to continue to have children. So that's one of the hardest things for someone like me to see. So if some girl came to me and was 8 months pregnant and was like, listen, I thought I could do this, but now the father's walked away. I have no job. I have no sustainability. And if I go home pregnant with this person's kid, then my parents won't let me stay there. What do you tell that person? It's
then
okay to have the baby.
well, at that point, Amanda, this is why I feel this way. At 8 months, for instance, or even 7 months, but at 8 months, definitely, the baby is like it can survive outside of the womb. In most cases, it can.
At 26 weeks, it can.
At 26, well, I
That
mean, but
that's
then
the
it
new
would
number.
require,
Yeah, no, they're in the NICU for 3 weeks and then they're released to the parents. I
yeah,
only know this because of how much medical research I do on a regular basis. But
basis.
26 weeks is the number now.
Okay. So what I'm saying is there should be a term limit where you can no longer have an abortion just because. And I'm not saying it should be a heartbeat because with the heartbeat it's only like what 6 weeks, right? A lot of women, or 8 weeks, a lot of women don't find out that they're pregnant in the first 2 months. You know what I mean? That's it just because sometimes you get your period even if you're pregnant, you get your fucking period. So I think there should be a limit on when, the abortions should not be allowed, as far as time frame goes. And I think if you've carried for 8 months and decide you no longer want the baby, you can give it up for adoption at that point.
So I'm gonna tell you why I disagree.
Why?
So if we put a number on that, right? And this is you're gonna be like, oh, but that's a one-off situation. But let me explain. So I work in property management. And property management, there's something called fair housing law.
Hmm.
More or less, that means that what you would do for one person, you would do for everyone. Everyone is treated exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means if I was trying to think of a name, and I don't know why my brain can't come up with any name at all. But if Amanda was to get pregnant and they, let's say that they make the cutoff because babies can sustain outside the body at 26 weeks. Let's just say they made the cutoff 26 weeks. At 26 weeks, you have to have the child. You can no longer have an abortion at all.
Hmm.
And then this lady that has been held hostage for the last 6 months in some man's house finally escapes and she's pregnant and she's at 28 weeks. Then at that point, what do we do? So that lady doesn't get to have an abortion. She's forced to have her abuser's child. And in having her abuser's child, she's then forced with the trauma of either giving up that baby that's half her and watching that baby go throughout life, or she's forced to at hmm, or at that point she is forced to, you know, either way it's a loss for her. But we can't make that exception for that one rape victim, and we can't make that exception for that lady that doesn't find out until 7 months pregnant because she didn't know she was pregnant and her child has some kind of debilitating condition that she should. So we can't make exceptions for them because we didn't make exceptions for anybody else. So now we put people in a position at the point that we say, hey, there is at least this rule or this law that stops this. We put ourselves in a position to not be able to help people that might need the help. And that's why I say that I don't think it should be on anybody else. Earlier you said if somebody wants to use birth control as abortion as their form of birth control, that's on them and their God. I feel the same thing about a person that wants to abort at 8 months old. I'm not saying I agree with it or I would do it. I'm not saying it's for me, but I have no idea what that person has been through, what they have to deal with, or what could come of their situation. So I don't feel like it is fair for us to put any kind of number on any of that stuff and then turn around and be like, oh, well, for this person, we'll make an exception. That's not, I was about to say that's not fair housing law. That's not fair law, period.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
think it's
think
fair to regulate my body. If you could start putting regulations on my body, then I want to start making rules on men's bodies because I'm tired of dad bods. They got to go.
no, and I agree with that. I do think that, I mean, exceptions could be built into like whatever laws that they want to put around it, but and I don't think that it should be like, for instance, I don't think it should be where in the hospital room the government is involved. I think it would be the doctor and the woman and whoever her family is that reach that decision. Um, and I think doctors should be able to be free to allow those women to make those decisions regarding their body and having an
Listen,
abortion. But
I'm
I
completely
do think that
okay
it
with
needs to be
explaining.
regulated. Uh,
So let me say this: if more people had actual primary care doctors, I would be completely comfortable putting my health and my situation in the hands of my primary care doctor.
mhm.
I'd be okay with that if it was a doctor's decision, if it wasn't a law. If your doctor was the one to say, yes, you can have this 28-week abortion because of this situation, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, but doctors do guide themselves by some sort of laws. You know, like they they do. That's why there's issues right now because there's so the laws are so ambiguous. Like they don't know what to do. They have a woman that has a dying baby inside of her, and they wait too long because they don't know if they're going to lose their license because they have to abide by these laws of these states, right? So, but I do think that there needs to be certain regulations, and in those regulations there could be exceptions and stipulations that would allow a doctor to determine whether or not an abortion was appropriate. But I I don't know. I don't think at 8 months old that you can go to the hospital and say I don't want this baby no more. Which I don't honestly I don't see a lot of women doing, if any,
No, and
with
I
no
don't
fucking
either. And
reason.
that's why I'm
You
saying
know,
if somebody were to show up at a hospital 8 months pregnant and say that, I think they should be heard.
yeah, they should definitely be heard. And if for some reason, I mean, if it's not any other reason that I just I just don't want it no more, because that shouldn't be a fucking reason. Not at fucking 8 months or 7 months.
Well,
It
and
shouldn't
listen,
be a
I'm gonna
fucking
be real with
reason.
you. At 8 months pregnant, they can just give her a C-section and send her home. She don't have to be pregnant
Exactly.
no more. They can take the baby. And
Exactly.
that's kind of how I feel about that. But I also
There's
don't feel like anyone should be forced to have or raise a child they don't want.
no, but at that point, not race it, because but at like late term pregnancies, you can at that point give them up for adoption. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. You don't have to, but
So,
early on pregnancies, like when I think you should be able, I should be able to have an abortion if I get pregnant and I don't want it because things
well,
happen.
and
Things do happen.
I think that life experiences for both you and I is what makes the little bit of disagreement on this subject matter that we do have.
Hmm.
Um, but I understand what you're saying, and that's coming from a place for you of I have children. I know how much I love them. I couldn't imagine someone doing this.
Yeah, I mean probably that, and
And I
again,
don't. And so I think that but I'm just saying that's where I think that our difference in opinion comes in from.
yeah.
You have these very bad, mean suckers that you love with everything you have. And my brain can't comprehend that because all I think is all children are narcissists. Um,
They are.
I know. They lie to you about everything. They gaslight you when they want something. They love bomb you on certain days, and all they do is eat up all of your energy and food.
Hmm.
Um, so, but I come from a standpoint of if we're going to start regulating abortions and things like that, how long until we start regulating marriages and religions and medical treatments again?
I mean, but abortion has always been regulated, Amanda. It's
To
never
an
been like a free
extent.
for all. Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I think abortion should continue to be legal and and should be regulated like it has
Okay,
been for
well,
like
then on
ever.
that note, I want to know when women get to vote again.
but I don't think it should be abolished. Like, I don't think it should be like a lot of states want to do, where it's not, allowed.
Right. So,
I
and I think that if we're gonna make abortion a thing that's regulated, then why are we not castrating rapists or child molesters? Or why are we not, putting people away for the rest of their lives the first time they impregnate a 12-year-old?
Yeah, no, they should spend. Yeah.
But no, I mean, let's regulate the women's bodies. Fuck what the men are doing.
And that
And
I can agree with
that's
you.
the only reason I feel the way that I feel. If I'm going to be regulated, if anything about me is going to be regulated, then I think that my significant other should be regulated too. And if I could get him pregnant just to prove a point, I would. But
That
he
would be
too
nice.
no longer has a cycle, so
I don't know. I just my main my the thing that's to me, and we'll let you guys go after this. The thing that's most after Roe versus Wade was overturned, um the most scary thing for me, that's what I was trying to say, is that there's this um possibility that miscarriages are going to be start being investigated. And
that's so scary.
I don't know what that means for women. And that's not in every state, just in certain states, and mostly like, you know, Bible Belt states. And that women are dying because doctors are being indecisive, because they are not clear around the rules around late term abortions when it's medically necessary. And because they're not clear, they're waiting too long. And like you said, the infection spreads to their blood, and then at some point there's just nothing that they can do for the mother, and now both the mother and the son are dead, or daughter, the both mother and child are now dead because
Yep.
doctors are
And then at
afraid.
that point we're yeah, and at that point we're having two funerals instead of one.
Yeah. So that's like honestly really scary. So there needs to be more clear, everything needs to be way more clear, and honestly there needs to be an ability for a doctor to determine what the best decision is, not for the
Doesn't like
government.
don't the laws have a compliance department?
If
Who do
they
I
did, they don't
contact
know
for the
more.
compliance department? Oh,
If they
oh
did,
yeah,
they
that's
don't
right.
know
They were
more.
all working from home.
Everyone's been fired. They've all been fired.
Good point.
But
Good point. Because I was gonna say, like, can we contact the compliance department for some clarification on what the rules are? Everything should be in black and white. It has to be in fair housing. I think it should be with the law too.
yeah, but anyways, abortion. What do you think about it? Let us know.
Below, like and subscribe.
Bye.